Hello, reader. Thank you for joining us. This is the Christian Readers Community Podcast. On this podcast, we will be discussing with fellow readers and authors. You will never lack for good conversations and recommendations of Christian books. If you're a lover of literary works, fiction and non-fiction, then you have made the right stop here. Thank you for joining us again, and I hope you listen to every podcast that we get to put out for you. Thank you.
Welcome to the Christian Readers Community. I'm your host and my name is Faith. Thank you to everyone who is listening to us right now, wherever you're listening from. I'm very grateful that you're taking out the time to listen to this. So today, I came with someone, a special person. Usually, when I invite authors, I just ask them questions, about their books. But today, I'm going to be doing something different with this author. So he is the author of Blindly Painting Words of Love. That's a poem, a romantic poem. And his name is Dany Acosta. Welcome to the show, Dany Acosta.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
I'm glad you were able to, accept my invitation. So for those who do not know, Dany, I listened to your story. I heard your story and I was like, oh no, I think I'll be doing a great injustice if I do not invite you over here to talk, to tell us about yourself. Usually if I invite authors here, we just talk about their books and a little about their personal life. But today, I would like to, request that you tell us your story, your journey, how you started, where you're coming from, where you are, and where you're going to. Your life has been a roller coaster. You'd agree with me, right?
Absolutely. It's been a roller coaster full of experiences, of ups and downs, and all arounds. So it's been good.
All right, Dany. So I would allow you to go. Yeah. So without wasting much time, and for those who's currently listening, Dany, you're 32. You're 32 this year, right?
Yes, correct. I'm 32 right now.
Okay, because I once had an elder sister. She's late now. She died when she was 15, car accident. So, but I was like, okay, this is someone who is my elder sister's age, but she's no longer here to, share her experience. And when I listened to you, I couldn't help but, think about my sister. I thought of her and, but let me not start getting emotional, at the beginning of this story. So Dany, go on ahead. Tell us what your life have been, the journey you've taken for the past 32 years.
Absolutely. Thank you, Faith. Thank you again. And thank you so much, everybody listening today. Thank you for connecting and being able to come and listen to this story. I really hope that it touches your heart. I encourage you all to listen with an open heart, listen with an open mind, and just ask yourself, what is God trying to tell me through this story? How is this relatable to either my story or maybe somebody I know? So why don't we jump into it? My name is Dany Acosta. I am a published author. My first book, which was published last year, is called Blindly Painting Words of Love, A Poet's Adventure. It is romantic Christian poetry reimagined. And so, often I think we think of romantic poetry as sometimes I think in some cultures it's even become a taboo, like, oh, you can't really talk about stuff like that. And then you read the Song of Solomon and you're like, oh, wait a minute, oh my gosh, this is a lot more graphic than our culture is used to. And I think romanticism or being romantic is a beautiful thing. And so I wanted to take that, implement it, and encourage youth and other folks in this area. I'm originally from a city called Guadalajara, which is in a state called Jalisco, which is in a country called Mexico. So I'm originally from Mexico. I was born there. And as I share my story, I want you to know that the title of my testimony that I've had the privilege and the honor to share all across the U.S. and in different platforms, it's called Faith, Not Sight. And as you all know, we get it from 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 7, where Paul writes, "For we walk by faith and not by sight." And I want to talk to you in 3 points: process, perseverance, purpose. So number 1, process. I believe it's Jeremiah 29:11 that reads, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you a future and of hope." Being born in Mexico, I remember my mother telling me that we immigrated to Los Angeles, California 2 years after I was born. I never knew my biological father. Even by name, to this day, I don't know him. When we immigrated over to Los Angeles, it wasn't too long after where my mom would end up meeting who would become my stepdad. They got married. They had a daughter. By the time I was in middle school, I was drinking heavily. I remember taking bottles of alcohol to school, bottles of liquor to school. And a lot of this was derived from being around alcohol most of my life, whether it was at my house or in the lot that I lived in. I used to live on this lot that had 4 houses. And every week, almost every day, but definitely every weekend, it was start drinking Friday, everybody wakes up on Monday, passed out on the floor, bottles everywhere, beer cans everywhere. And I remember getting up early to steal those that still had some in it, and I would take them to school with me. I was like the cool kid, right? Like, whoa, Danny brings alcohol to school or liquor to school, stuff like that. Well, eventually I started high school. I remember my first year of high school was what should have been a dream became a nightmare. I remember my stepdad passing away. I still remember getting the phone call. I was at home. I got a phone call from a police officer asking, "Is this my mom's son?" I said, "Yes." And they said, "Is your mom home?" "Yeah." When I gave my mom the phone, I saw her face change quite dramatically. She gave me money. She sent me to the store to go get a gallon of milk. By the time I came back, I remember getting to the front gate of this lot with 4 houses, and my sister running to the front, yelling, "My dad died, my dad died." And then she looks at me and she says, "Danny, Dad died." And I remember going through the front gate, slamming the front gate, slamming my house door, throwing the gallon of milk in the fridge, slamming the fridge door, running to the front to see if I could get a ride. By this time, my mom had already left to the hospital. I remember getting to the hospital, and my mom was crying at the foot of the bed. My stepdad had passed away already. I remember seeing his body. It looked pale. It looked cold, with tubes down his nose and his throat and wires everywhere. But he was already gone. I remember walking out of the room and starting to punch the walls in the hospital halls. And the doctors trying to calm me down, and my mom trying to calm me down, but I had lost complete control. I had broken apart. I had broken down completely. Well, at the time, we didn't know that my mom was pregnant. She found out a couple weeks later. So we saw it as a gift. We said, "Oh my gosh, my stepdad left us with a beautiful gift." Who should have became our sibling. Unfortunately, we would find out that it was not going to be a sibling, because my mom, due to the stress and the depression and everything that was going on, she actually ended up having a miscarriage. The year after that, my girlfriend at the time had a miscarriage. This was 2 miscarriages within the span of a year. I remember downward spiraling into substances. I remember downward spiraling into a lot of crazy behavior. I was already really into, drawing and doing murals and stuff like that. I remember downward spiraling into terrible behavior at school, not going to class, not showing up, not wanting to do homework. I remember getting kicked out of 4 different high schools. The first one was over at Venice Beach, California, at Venice High School for not going to class, not doing good in school. Then I got kicked out of Centennial High School in Compton, California, which is notorious for being a very violent and very dangerous city. This was a high school in Centennial where there was a lot of gang violence, a lot of racial riots. I remember police officers coming in tactical gear, throwing tear gas canisters, arresting people with zip ties, students running into different classrooms just to stay safe. Then I remember going to Manual Arts High School, where I also got kicked out for bad behavior. Eventually, I ended up over at Central High School in downtown LA, where I got kicked out. And finally, I land at another Central High School. By this point, I was stealing, trying to sell things to be able to buy alcohol and things like that, cigarettes. I remember getting caught at Target one day. On this particular day, I was just relaxing at home, and my friend calls me, and he says, "Hey, let's go come up at Target." I'm like, "Okay, I'm bored, whatever, let's go." We get to Target, we're doing our thing, we're getting markers and these cards. They're kind of like Pokemon, but they're called Magic the Gathering. DVDs and Blu-rays and video games that had just come out, and we're putting it all in our pockets. I still remember the vivid imagery of walking outside the front door thinking I had gotten away when I feel a huge hand on my right shoulder that says, "Target security, you're under arrest." I look to the side and I see another security guard behind my friend. Now, the one grabbing my friend, it's a very overweight lady, but the one that was holding my shoulder was this tall, very fit guy. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't run away. I'm either going to get tased or tackled. One of the two. Well, I think about it and I'm like, no, I'm not going to run. That night, they take us to the back room. They make us take out everything. I throw all the stuff that I had taken away from Target into a red basket. My friend's across the hall crying. And the security guard tells me, "Why is your fat friend over there crying and you're not?" And I said, "Well, what can I do? I'm already caught. There's nothing I can do to change anything." Well, the police comes, they arrest us, they take us to a holding cell overnight, and later that night, towards the morning, they tell us that we're able to get out. Now, at this point, I'm under 18, and mind you, I'm not a good kid at the time, but I'm still under 18. And if anybody that's listening has a child that's acting up, I encourage you to have them listen to this. Because when we show up to the police station, we're in handcuffs. They take us in front of a holding cell. They separate us. So I'm in front of one holding cell. He's way down the hall in front of another holding cell. And they're like, "Okay, take off all your clothes, your socks, your shoes, everything." They start checking you for everything, making sure you don't have any weapons, drugs, or anything like that. Then they put you in this concrete surrounded cell. It's all concrete, all 4 walls, ceiling, floor, everything's concrete. And it's super cold. They ask you to put your boxers back on, but that's all you have on. Then they bring you food. And they're laughing when they bring you food because it's spoiled milk. The crackers are dry. The fruit looks terrible. The food is disgusting, just gross. Finally, they tell us, "Hey, your family's here to pick you up." When we step out the front door, the first person I see is my friend's dad. And he starts yelling at me. He's like, "It's all your fault. You spoiled my son. This is all your fault," and so forth. Little did he know that earlier that day, I was relaxing at home playing video games, and it was his son that called me to go. Well, things like that happened. I remember making my mom wait for days and days on end She would wait for me at the bus stop and train stations, waiting for me to come home while I was out with friends, while I was out sleeping on Venice Beach under lifeguard towers.
Yes, go ahead.
I also recall doing things that I would never do again because I was in a bad behavior place, right? I was misbehaving. Well, time went by. Eventually, I graduated from high school, and my high school graduation wasn't the typical go walk the stage and things like that. It was to go and get high with my friends. Then I started Los Angeles City College. My first semester, straight A's, but not doing the greatest behavior-wise. My second semester was a complete disaster. So I drop out because I said I don't want to harm and damage my academic progress. So I drop out. I try to get my life together. I don't. At that point, my mom had met another man. She had another daughter. We had gotten kicked out several times and evicted from different places that we were renting. And eventually, her partner at the time moved to Lynn, Massachusetts. And then my mom came to live over here. Now, at this point, I was working with my uncle. One day I'm working, and all of a sudden I see my mom appear with my two sisters. One in her arms, who she had with her second partner, and the other who was already 13 by this point. They get to my uncle's shop and they say, hey, we're leaving to Boston today. Boston, Massachusetts. And I'm like, oh my gosh, why? What's going on? Oh, just because we're going to go live with my mom's partner. Okay, well, I'm not going. I'm staying in Los Angeles. The last time that I saw my mom with my physical eyes, I was under the influence. I took her to a Greyhound station, which is a bus transportation here in the U.S. My mom was crying. My little sister, who was still in her arms, was crying because she didn't know what was going on. And my 13-year-old sister was crying. But I was excited for them to leave because if I was already out of control under my mom's supervision, I was definitely going to go all out under no one's supervision. Well, that was the last time I saw my mom with my physical eyes. Now, mind you, I was born healthy. I was not born blind. I am currently completely blind, but at the time, I was fine. Never needed glasses, never had eye issues, nothing. Okay. She leaves. Well, I go live with gang members. There was a gang in downtown Los Angeles near an area called Koreatown. There's a border where there's three gangs. MS-13, which is originally a Salvadorian gang, 18th Street, which is also a Central American gang, and Playboys gang, which is a Latin gang primarily in Koreatown. Well, I go live with a Playboys gang member. And while living there, there was a lot of prostitutes and strippers that would come in, a lot of drugs and guns would come in. Very crazy things happened there. I remember seeing people coming in that were bruised up, beaten up, and bloody from their faces. I remember people coming in that would have just stolen either from someone or from a car. I remember people coming in with drugs, with guns. I remember girls coming into the apartment offering me sex for drugs. And I would always reject that because I never liked stuff like that. But that's where I was living. And there's an old saying, it's all fun and games until someone gets hurt. Well, somebody definitely got hurt. I remember one night I had gone out with a friend. I was getting home late after dropping her off. I was on my bike. And when I get maybe around a quarter mile away from my house, there are several police officers. The entire street is shut down with police officers. Now, at this point, I don't know what's going on. So I go around a few blocks. I get to the front of my apartment, and then I realize I forgot my keys. And then across the street was a group of guys that the gang member that I lived with used to hang out with. And they're like, hey, homeboy, come here, come through. I'm like, oh, man, these guys are going to start messing with me. Like, oh, man. So I go across the street. I'm like, what's up? They're like, hey, what's your homeboy's name? I'm like, oh, what do you mean? They're like, yeah, what's his real name? I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I just know him as Joker. Oh, really? You know what happened to your boy, right? And I'm like, I honestly have no idea. He said, he got shot. Like, what? Yeah. It was really hard for me to believe because he was always pretty careful for the most part. Well, I don't have anywhere to go that night. I don't have keys. My phone is, it's working, but no one's answering my calls. So I go to another friend's house. It was a few blocks away. And he's asleep. So I end up passing out on his porch because it was so late and I was really tired. Well, the next day, I go back home and my friend is there. Not the one that got shot, but a second friend that lives with us. And the girlfriend of the guy that got shot. When I go in, they tell me, yeah, man. So they told me what happened. Basically, my friend, who we call Joker, he got shot 9 times in the stomach. All the bullets went through his front and out his back. One of his kidneys got shot. Most of the bullets hit his spinal cord. He ended up paralyzed waist down for the rest of his life. And the reason that his own gang wanted to look for him is because they wanted to kill him. What process are you going through right now? What process are you going through that you're finding challenging? Everybody goes through a process. We all go through processes in life, some more difficult than others. But there are processes that hold a purpose to them. There are processes that scaffold you into your purpose. But there's also those processes that can hinder you from your purpose. There's processes in life that will try to stop you from getting to where God wants you to be. Point number 2, perseverance. We all go through processes in life. But there's one thing that connects us, perseverance. We all need it. Every single one of you has had to have perseverance to get to where you are today. Whether it was through challenges, relationships, whatever the case may have been. We all have struggled. So, we can no longer afford the rent. One friend goes to live with his dad. My friend that got shot goes to live with his mom. And I have nowhere to go. So I end up homeless. Now, when I say homeless, I'm sure a lot of folks say homeless. I've been homeless before. Let me tell you something, especially for those young folks. When you run away from home, that's not homeless. You have a home to go to. You just chose not to go. Homeless is, I have a shopping cart full of my stuff. I don't know where to put it. And I don't know where to go to sleep so that while I'm asleep, nobody steals it. Homeless is, I need to know where the fruit trees in my neighborhood are so I don't starve to death. I need to know where the restaurants that give away food are at the end of the night so I don't starve. Homeless is, I need to find a place to sleep tonight so I don't get robbed while I'm sleeping, so I don't get stabbed while I'm sleeping. Funny enough, I always had some form of substance like alcohol, but never had money. I remember going up to a gentleman once and I telling him, "Excuse me, do you have change for what? For food?" He looks at me. It was this tall African guy. He looks at me and puts his hand on my shoulder. He's like, "Let me tell you something." And he gives me $5. I believe it was $5. And he looks at me and he says, "Let me tell you something, man. You don't need to change. You need to change your life." and I look at the dollar and I look at him, and I felt such a powerful conviction. And he walks away and gets on a bus. And I'm just stuck there in awe. Like, what just happened? Well, that moment was very, very significant because that would happen a lot. It's funny how God will send people in our direction to try to help us and reach out to us. But very few times do we actually listen to people. Very few times do we actually try to listen and hear out those that God is sending to help us. Then my uncle tells me, if you want to live in my garage, you need to start going to church. I said, church? Man, I don't want to go to no stinking church. I had just gotten an upside down cross tattoo on my chest. The last thing I wanted was to go to church. I was very like atheist, anti-Christ, punk rocker, you know? I remember sleeping on the bus stops and train stations. I remember sleeping on benches at the beach with a lock while wearing my backpack and locking my bike to the strap, the shoulder strap of my backpack, so that nobody steals my bike while I'm sleeping. Well, eventually I give in. You know, I went to 12-step, I went to Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, all the anonymous, right? The AA, the NAs, all the A's. I went to jail overnight, into that holding cell. I was homeless. Still, I was refusing to change. And he looked at me, he's like, look, I want you to call this guy. His name is Lewis. He's a church leader. And tell him that you're interested. Okay. I call. Hey, what's up, bro? I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy's way too much full of energy. Hey, check it out, bro. Look, I'm going to pick you up. I'll take you to church. We'll go eat. And I'll take you back home. I'm like, first of all, no guy has ever offered to pick me up. Second of all, I've never gone to eat one-on-one with a guy. And third of all, this guy's really cringy, you know? Well, I'm like, okay, I tried everything. I might as well try. We go eat. We get to the church. I remember still looking in front of the church. Beautiful girls in the front. You know, at the time I was 20 years old. All these really beautiful girls in the front. I'm like, okay. And this was youth night. It was at 7 p.m. Okay, I think I like this. And I go up to them and I try to give them a hug and they're like, hey bro, what's up? And they shake my hand. I'm like, okay, never mind then. Then I go through the foyer into the second door. At the second door, there's all guys. I try to shake their hand and then they're hugging me. I'm like, okay, I'm not really digging this. The girls don't hug you, but the guys do. The girls only shake your hands, but the guys only want to hug you. And then you just hear the bass. There's smoke coming out of the building. There's a smoke machine going off, lasers and lights going off everywhere. There's like club music, but it all has Christian lyrics. I remember Lecrae was really, really, really like getting on fire during that time. I'm like, man, what is going on here? I remember sitting. I always liked sitting in the front. I remember sitting in the front next to a leader. And I'm looking. And the pastor says, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. And I stare at Pastor Scott. And he said, if you want to change your life today, come to the front. I don't even think about it. I walk straight to the front. And he looks at me and he looks at other folks that are in the front and he says, ask God for something. Okay. Now, mind you, the last time I ever think I could last remember at that point trying to pray. No, yes, I grew up in a Catholic church. Yes, I grew up, doing the whole First Communion and all of these things, baptized as a baby. But I never had a relationship. I had religion. I wasn't a church goer every week. But I didn't have a relationship. The last time I remember praying was when I was living at that apartment with a gang member, when I was overdosing, looking out my window, at a cross on top of a Catholic church saying, God, whatever you do, please don't let me go this way. Well, fast forward, while I'm at the altar, I said, all right, well, I can ask anything. So I want money, I want drugs, I want girls, I want cars, I want my papers, I want a job, I want a house. Now, mind you, I'm thinking all of this. I'm not saying this out loud. Then the leader puts his hand on my shoulder and he says, whatever you do, bro, don't ask for anything materialistic. And I'm like, man, I am not liking this Scooby-Doo house. What kind of place is this? Everybody knows what I'm thinking. I'm pretty sure my uncle called the pastor and tell him everything I'm going through. Somehow he's connecting everything back to my life. And then he tells me, ask God for something that's going to change your life. I said, okay. Then in my head, I say, God, if you're really real, take all my addictions away. This year that just passed, a month ago in November, I'm very grateful to God to say that I've been clean for 12 years. Clean for 12 years. Now, I don't know about you listening, but if you know someone that's struggling to stay clean or get clean, this is probably just for them. Because when you think that your bondage and your chains are too heavy to break, you have no idea the hands that are willing to come in and completely shatter them for you. So I start serving in church. I start evangelizing and taking tracts everywhere with me and sharing Christ with people on the bus and the train stations where I used to sleep, over there with my friends that I stopped hanging out with. Everybody called me Jesus freak. People would make fun of me. They would call me hypocrite. They would say, man, we knew who you were. Who do you think you are trying to change your life? Isn't it funny that when you're in a bad place, nobody wants to talk to you? As soon as you try to change your life, everybody makes fun of you. And I said, man, you guys should be supporting trying to change my life. But they would just mock me. I remember being in this position. Everything was going better. 3 years later, one day I wake up. This was April 2014. I wake up and I remember my left eye was a little bit blurry. It kind of looked like a stream of water flowing through my eye. Then it started in my right eye. Then it started to get blurrier. Then it started to get dark. I remember I was vomiting a lot. I had diarrhea. And I couldn't keep food down. I couldn't even drink water without throwing up. I remember going to work and throwing up in trash cans. One day my boss called me. At this point, I'm working at 7-Eleven. My boss called me and he says, hey, what's going on? I see you throwing up in the cameras. Well, what's going on here? Oh, I just don't feel good, but I'll be fine. Why haven't you gone to the hospital? Because I don't have papers. And I can't afford it. I don't care if you can't afford it. You're going to go to the clinic and I'm going to take care of it. But you got to go to the hospital. You're not doing great. Okay. Then one day I go to the hospital. While they're drawing blood from my hand, I look at the nurse and I tell him, hey man, I'm not feeling that great. He taps my hand and he's like, we're almost done, buddy. We're almost done. And I pass out. When I wake up, I have an IV in my right arm giving me sugar and an IV in my left arm giving me blood. I was supposed to be dead. The doctor looks at me and tells me, why didn't you go to the hospital earlier? He was mad at me for waking when I woke up. You should have been dead already. Look at you. Your blood cell count is so low. Your white blood cell count is below 4%, and so forth. Then they do an ultrasound and they see that my kidneys has shrunken dramatically. They told me that I was extremely dehydrated. They told me that my body was completely a disaster. That night, a nurse comes into my room, tells me, I shouldn't be telling you this, but the doctor's going to come in a bit to tell you. But all I want to tell you right now is that everything's going to be okay. Don't worry. And she's crying, holding my hand while all this is happening. Moments later, the doctor comes in, tells me, I don't know how else to tell you this, but I need to let you know that you have chronic kidney failure and we're going to start you on dialysis tonight. I didn't know what any of this meant. I honestly thought all of this was spiritual. I'm like, oh, I'll get over this. This is fine. Well, that night they put tubes in my chest to start doing dialysis 3 times a week, 4 hours each time. For those of you that don't know what dialysis is, in essence, it's when you're connected to a machine with 2 hoses. One pulls out blood, puts it in a machine. The machine cleans the blood, and the other tube or the other hose puts it back in. Because the machine is now doing what your kidneys don't do, which is to clean your blood. I also stopped producing urine. I remember throwing up while I'm on dialysis. I couldn't handle it. And then, as if that weren't enough, in the span of 3 weeks, I lost my sight completely. I lost 45 pounds. And in the span of 7 months, from April to November of 2014, I had 19 surgeries. I was hospitalized 13 times. In July, I had a stroke and 2 seizures of that year. And I remember waking up after having a stroke and 2 seizures. I was paralyzed from neck down. All I was able to move was my right hand a little bit and my face a little bit. The doctors come in. They make me sign a paper called the 5 Wishes, where you give confidence to somebody and you sign off on people being able to make decisions for you. If you're ever in a critical state, if you want to donate organs and so forth. And then the doctors tell me, you have 3 months of life left. The last time I saw my mom with my physical eyes was me under the influence at the Greyhound station. The last time I saw my mom with my physical eyes through a cell phone screen, I was losing my sight and I had the most little bit left on the right corner of my right eye. Cherishing the few precious moments I had left of being able to see pictures of my mom, because webcamming wasn't really a thing yet. Especially on cell phones, it wasn't that great. And then fast forward, I end up 3 months later, I don't die. But they take out my right eye. 1 week later, they take out my left eye. The pressure in your eye is supposed to be around 23. The pressure in both of my eyes was 87. My eyes were literally bulging out my sockets. They were bloodshot red. And I tell people, I'll never be able to see my mom smile anymore. I'll never be able to see my future wife smile or my future kids smile. But just because I can't see them smile doesn't mean I can't make them smile. I may not have sight, but I have vision for life. What is the thing that's holding you down right now? A gentleman not too long ago told me, Dany, I lost my job and I wanted to commit suicide. You lost everything and you were still fighting, and you're still fighting to this day. That year ended with me coming to Boston, Massachusetts. The woman that would wait for me at the bus stop and the train stations was the same woman waiting for me at the airport, my mom. Now, she could have said, you only come with your issues, you only come with your problems. But what she said was, Mijo, which means son in Spanish. Welcome home. I love you. Let's go home today. 1 month later, while I'm at the oculist, I'm getting my prosthetic eyes, my first set. And joking around, I tell him, oh, I want blue eyes, maybe some light green eyes. We're all laughing. And then I look at my mom and I look at the oculist and I tell him, you know what? I want my mom's eyes. Because I made my mom suffer a lot. I made my mom go through pain. But I don't want her eyes to suffer anymore. I want her eyes to see life transformed and renewed and restored and rejuvenated, redeemed and healed. Well, we all have perseverance. And point number 3, purpose. What is your purpose? Do you know your purpose? See, we all go through challenges in life. But just like a white cane that we sweep from left to right, in the same way we take steps forward to reach our purpose. But what is the purpose that God is trying to take you to? Think of a white cane. I could use it as a doorstop or a weapon, but it doesn't fulfill its purpose until it takes me from point A to point B. See, I've gone through a lot of battles in life. But as Jeremiah 29:11 says, for I know the plans I have for you. I remember when I was in the hospital, the Lord came to me and told me, what do you want? And I said, oh, I know about Solomon. I want wisdom, Lord. And God said, no, what do you want? And I said, I want my family to get to know you the same way I know you. And now my family in California goes to church. My family in Mexico goes to church. My family in Massachusetts go to church. When at the time, nobody in my family went to church. People are starting to have relationships with Jesus in my family. Something that I would have never thought of before that. Well, in 2015, when I come to Massachusetts at the end of 2014 into 2015, I started going to the Carroll Center for the Blind. While there, I went through the independent living program. Then I went through their intense technology program. I learned different skills. Then I went to North Shore Community College. I graduated with a GPA of 3.94, where the highest is 4. I got a 3.94. Graduated as a president of Delta Alpha Pi, an honor society of students with disabilities. The president of Youth United, which was a Christian club. Graduated with honors and did commencement speech there, where I got to share my testimony in front of thousands of people. Then I went into Salem State University and graduated in 2021 with a bachelor's in social work with honors and did commencement speech there. In 2019, 2 years before I graduated with my bachelor's, I had a kidney transplant thanks to a gentleman named Cyrus Lavers, who tragically passed away the day before he donated me a kidney from a tragic motorcycle accident. But I honor his life because without him, I would not be where I am today, and without the Lord's help. In 2022, last year, as of this recording, in February, I published my first book, Blindly Painting Words of Love, A Poet's Adventure. And we have used the royalties of this book to help families, immigrant families who have kids with disabilities across the U.S. We've also sent and donated books and donated money over to Central America, Mexico, the Caribbean. And recently, we were able to donate books and funds over to the Federated States of Micronesia over in Pohnpei. And a little bit of that trickled over into Indonesia. And finally, now I'm working on my second book. Because we all have a purpose. I've been able to share my story around the world with different folks across different platforms in the U.S. with different people. And this year I graduated with my master's in social work. And I did commencement speech there as well. I'm in the process of working on my second book. I've been privileged and had the honor of teaching English. I'm a professional interpreter and translator. I do faith-based counseling with different high-risk youth who are struggling with substance use, pornography, and masturbation addictions. I've helped young women get out of prostitution and suicide ideation. And I continue helping folks in my community. Because if we don't help each other, who will? And by God's grace, today I'm a full-time employee for the Massachusetts Commission for the Blind, where I'm a vocational rehab counselor. I'm able to share my story and help people that are going through visual impairments, whether they're new or they have been going through it longer than I have. So I want to challenge you, listener, audience member. I want to challenge you to remember to walk by faith and not by sight. And remember that we all have a purpose. That every time you wake up, you are given a gift of life. Cherish it. I challenge you today, go up to your mom, go up to a loved one, your father, an uncle, an aunt, maybe someone who raised you that wasn't your biological parents. Maybe it's a step-parent. Maybe it's someone who adopted you. Your brother, maybe a cousin. But go up to someone today. Give them a hug. Tell them you love them. Tell them that you're proud of them. Because you might change somebody's life today. Somebody needs to hear that today. It might change somebody's life completely. And it might take somebody away from wanting to take their life away. My name is Dany Acosta. God bless you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dany. Thank you so much. You know, the first time I listened to your story, I just kept exclaiming. I couldn't. You need to see me that day. My face, I was actually, funny enough, I was preparing breakfast when I was listening to you. Then I had to abruptly stop, making breakfast. Then I started listening to you. I had to sit down and digest everything you were saying. Then I had to listen to it again. And my mom came back from work that day and I had to share it with her. And she listened to it. She was, wow. One thing I've learned from your story is that there is nobody God cannot change. There is nothing impossible for God to do if we trust Him. Your mom and your uncle kept the faith, praying for you, hoping for you, putting out the candle for you, never giving up. And today, look at where you are. I just want to say, I thank God. Thank God for where you are. Thank God for where He brought you from. And your story is very inspiring. This is why I said that you are not just an author, but you are someone special. I actually didn't mean it in an intimate way to those who are listening, but this is someone that his story would inspire you in a special way. It would tell you something different from what you've been, thinking about life and about yourself. So once again, Dany, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Faith. Thank you very much.
Yes, I grew up with visual impairment. I was also, I think I was diagnosed with cataract. That was when I was 6 months old. So I've gone through a lot. And several times I've always felt like I think I'm alone. No one is suffering what I'm going through. No one is suffering what I'm suffering. No one is going what no one is passing through what no one is there are just times where you feel like you're alone in the world and you feel like, okay, what's happening? But when I listened to your story, I was like, oh, okay. I think I'm not alone. I'm not I'm not alone. Whatever I'm passing through, someone is going through something more difficult than what someone I've seen something harder than what I've seen in life. And I was like, oh, that was how I was able to, be encouraged with your story. So I would like to ask you this question, Dany. I'd like to ask you a question. You said that you got blind when that was when that's 3 years after you gave your life to Christ. Is it 3 or 2 years after you gave your life to Christ?
Yes.
When it finally dawned on you that it wasn't anything spiritual, did you ever come to that point where you would ask God, I thought I've given my life to Christ. I thought life was supposed to go well for me. I thought I thought life was supposed to. God, are you there? Do you love? Why did this happen to me? Was there ever a time you doubted God? Like you felt like, what's happening to me?
Oh, I remember. That's a very good question, Faith. Thank you. I remember laying down in a hospital bed where they have the rails up on both sides because I was having seizures and I could have fallen off the bed. So they didn't even want me to get out of bed. And I remember I wanted to pray. I was like, you know what, man, I need to pray right now. But they won't let me off the bed. So I'm just going to turn around on my bed and I'm going to get on my knees on my bed and I'm going to pray on this bed. But I'm not going to let this hold me back. And I told the Lord, I served you. I know I'm not perfect. I know I'm a sinner, but I served you. Why did you let this happen to me after helping me get clean? Why? I've been serving you all this time and trying to bring people to church and people to your feet. When you serve God, it doesn't eliminate problems. I like to think it actually attracts challenges. But now the challenges you go through are purposeful, not purposeless. And now you're hopeful. You actually have hope. You're not hopeless where you're walking into the void of nothingness with nothing to look forward to. I realized that my blindness is a gift. I realized that it wasn't just physical. Actually, it was a very spiritual thing that was that I was going through. I remember one of my friends told me, Dany, you're the Job of our generation. You're showing us that, yes, even though we go through suffering, there's a purpose to your suffering. There's a purpose to why you're going to go through what you're going to go through. And I didn't know that one day I'd be on a podcast all the way from Boston to Nigeria, being able to speak to people around the world about my story. I didn't know that one day I would write a book. I didn't know that one day I would graduate with a master's degree. I didn't know any of this. I'm doing more with my life now than I did before, but I absolutely doubted. I said, Lord, what's going on? Now, I want to be very clear. When I say doubt, I don't mean doubt God. I mean doubt the challenge that I was going through. I mean doubt like, why is this happening? Why does this have to happen? Why couldn't my challenge be something else? Like, I don't know, having a really bad cold or, breaking a leg or, whatever, right? But no, it was something this drastic, but it was purposeful.
So what lifted you up during those times? The times you were down?
Yeah, I remember at the time, friends visiting me from church. All the people that I went to, go to Target with or do other dumb things with, other people that I would drink with and all that stuff. Even the gang members that I used to hang out with. None of them visited me. But my church family did. My pastors did. Prayer helped me a lot. Actually, I remember being in the hospitals, and I would start evangelizing my doctors, my nurses. I remember in one occasion, this was before they took out my eyes. In one occasion, they wanted to take out my right eye. And I told the doctor, no, I don't care how much pain I have to go through. I'm not taking out my eyes. He said, okay. Walked away. The next day, a nurse comes in and tells me, Dany, the doctor that was here last night wants to talk to you in private. They literally put me on a rolling bed, like a gurney, and they take me to another room where he's in. They close the door. He sits by my bed and he starts crying. And I ask him, is everything okay, doctor? He holds my hand and he says, Dany, I need to tell you something. When I went through medical school, I walked away from God. I walked away from my relationship with the Lord. But after seeing your faith today of trusting God that you'll get your sight back when I'm trying to take out your eyes, I don't know how else to explain it but tell you thank you, because you're helping me restore my faith in God again. That helped me stay strong. That helped me keep going, no matter the pain I was going through. And yes, I did end up having both of my eyes taken away, but it was for safety reasons, because what was happening in my eyes was going to start happening in my brain, which was what caused the stroke and the seizures to begin with. So it was for health reasons, but never for faith reasons.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, Dany, I'm so sorry I'm speaking slowly right now, but because that's the story you gave is actually, it's an emotional one. Yeah. So I'm trying here to actually hold back. But okay, so let's talk a little about your book. You said you give out the royalties to your book. When someone buys your book, you don't use any of them. And Dany, I would like to invite you some other time, because we are almost out of time now. So I'd like to invite you some other time to talk specifically about your book, both the one you've written and the one you're currently working on, the one you've published and the one you're currently working on. But before then, where can people find your book?
Absolutely. Thank you, Faith. If you guys go to www.danyacosta.com, and that's DANYACOSTA, danyacosta.com. Again, Dany, DANY, one N, DANY, Acosta, ACOSTA.com. You can find all of my social media and my books. It's available on Amazon. It's an audiobook on my website, but it's also available for those of you that are registered with BARD, with the BARD application. It's also available there for all of our friends that are visually impaired that are registered with the BARD app.
Okay, thank you so much, Dany. I read your audio. I listened to your audiobook rather, and I was really, really taken. The book really, it was very, very wonderful. It was just perfect. I mean, Blindly Painting Words of Love is just the perfect title for that poem. You really did well. And I'd like to say that anyone who is having any doubt should, check out this book, and you'll see that, I'm probably understating, how good this book is, but you can check it out yourself. And when you're done reading, I'd like to encourage everyone to get this book, read it, or you can get the audio version, listen to it. Then, anyhow, you would be helping not Dany Acosta now, but you would be helping the families, the low-income families that he's supporting with his royalties, with the royalties gotten from the book sales. So Dany, if anyone wants to reach out to you, could they do that through your website, or you have other mediums?
Yeah, they can reach out to me through my website. All my social media, my email, and all my contact info is on danyacosta.com. So feel free to reach out right there. And send me a message, whether it's about this episode, or maybe you have questions about the book, or maybe you just need prayer. Maybe you need someone to talk to, or maybe you need me to talk to maybe a brother or a sister you have that's going through depression or substance use. I would love to talk to them and encourage them. That's what I'm here for. Let's help each other out.
Thank you so much, Dany. Your contact details is attached to this podcast. So anyone who would like to copy it and, get to know more about Dany should, read the description attached to this podcast, and you would know more about him and you can get his contact details. So Dany, I'm going to invite you next time. I hope you would like to come again.
I would love that. That would be really, really awesome. Yes.
No problems. This has been such a roller coaster ride with you, Dany. Honestly, you've done well. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for sharing your testimony. And I do pray that God will keep taking you to places, because, like I said earlier, there are people like me who needs to listen to something like this and remember that God is always with us. One. Secondly, we are not alone when we go through diverse troubles and temptations in life. So once again, Dany, thank you so much for coming. I really, really appreciate this. And I look forward to our next interview, when I'm going to be asking you so many questions about, blindly painting words of love. You're going to tell me how you became a blind painter, and you're going to tell me so much about it. So thank you. Okay. Looking forward to that. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I hope you've been enlightened, refreshed, and encouraged, like I was, listening to Dany. He's amazing. And like he said, you could contact him for prayers and advice, suggestions, and, even if it's to talk about this episode or his book, anything decent, of course, reach out to him and he will be willing to, he'll be happy to talk with you. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. Until I come your way again next time, I'm saying stay safe, stay blessed, and bye-bye, everyone.